Hello everyone, this is CJ Novo 992 and today we are back with another brand new video. Today's video we're here to discuss the Scottish Cup 5th round replay between Kilmarnock and Rangers. That's right, we're playing Kilmarnock again for like the third time in 4 weeks. That's great for the content on the channel, not getting dry at all. But thankfully this match has a hell of a lot going for it rather than just a plain old Scottish Cup 5th round replay. No. We slap that to one side. We've got the manager's battle. We've got the players' response from Saturday. There's so much to actually discuss. So let's just dive into it then, shall we? 3, 2, 1. Rangers versus Kilmarnock, 7:45 kickoff. As previously mentioned, this will actually be the replay of the first tie that obviously ended 0-0. If you saw the St Johnstone game, it ended 0-0. It was exactly the same. No Morelos, no goals. The only difference is obviously being between the two matches overall is we had a penalty in the Rugby Park. We missed that. St Johnstone, we created even less. And since actual back-to-backs happened, there's been a hell of a lot of discussion and talk about this Rangers team and seeing what's actually gone wrong, because when we finished the winter break, it was all looking rosy, it all looked good. There was only going up. Somehow we've managed to go down and play even poorly than we have done the entire season. Back to frickin' back. And that's obviously caused Gerrard's post-match interview, I should say. I basically almost called it a fan rant. If any of you have actually saw it, he came out, was calling some of the players out, saying they needed to step up. Where was the leaders? There was nobody on the park stepping up and actually taking over the game. It was very, very vicious, but I feel like it could be a key point and the turning point in the season so far, because since we've came back, we've been absolutely horrific. But Gerrard coming out, speaking his home truths, calling the players out publicly might be the match, the spark that gets the Rangers gone again. And that's basically backed up by what Andy Halliday actually said during the press conference for the upcoming match versus Kilmarnock on Rangers' official YouTube channel. Make sure you go out and check that out if you want to see the full interview. Very, very good from not only Gerrard but Andy Halliday as well. He says he much prefers a manager coming out and speaking the truth. So does the players. They've had a hell of a lot of managers in their career talking around the truth, telling you things you want to hear, but you never learn that way. Gerrard is very direct with the players, and he's not in their face screaming, telling them they're not good enough all the time. It's not that. In fact, he's probably the opposite of that. But when the time actually comes, when you need to hear some home truths, Gerrard is there to deliver it. And the response since Gerrard has done that, not only in public, but also to the players individually, speaking to who needs to step up. The training sessions are apparently vastly different than they were in the upcoming game versus St Johnstone, because in Gerrard's own words, he had players a bit too comfortable, sort of swanning about in training with a bit of an ego problem in training, thinking they could just turn up and beat St Johnstone at home. That has been eradicated and the players are back fighting for the shirts on their backs, because they've been warned now, if they don't perform, they will not play. And Gerrard made a point to say anyone, so I'm fully expecting Tavernier comes under that bracket as well. Any of the bigger players that's played pretty much every game, they need to perform now or they will actually be dropped. There'll be no more passengers throughout the rest of the season. On. Now, all that gave me a lot more encouragement, because if I'm honest with you, before I watched this press conference, I was sitting back thinking that is two of the worst games I've seen. That was absolutely putrid, the Kilmarnock game. And then you've got St Johnstone, and we couldn't break St Johnstone down, but we're going to play a much better team in Kilmarnock. How is this going to frickin' happen? But since they're obviously hearing that, the players are obviously reacting very strongly at the words, and they're back to be scrapping and fighting for their lives. It makes me a hell of a lot more confident. But what is your thoughts on the way that Gerrard has handled this situation, both publicly and directly to the players, telling them some home frickin' truths? And the last thing that I actually want to bring up and discuss in this part of the video before we jump over to the injury list and suspension list is that Gerrard talked about his fully belief in this group of players and that he loves them to bits. And he finished it with a truly wonderful quote that really sums up this Rangers team. He says, "These Rangers players are desperate for success, but they're inexperienced in winning." That is a phenomenal summarisation of this season so far. I just hope they're experienced enough to win a Scottish Cup 5th round replay versus Kilmarnock at home. That would be freaking fantastic. But anyway, let's move on to the injury list and suspension list then, shall we? And we'll start off with some good news. Something fantastic that I'm sure a majority of you already know, but just in case you don't, Alfredo Morelos is back, baby. That's right, the Buffalo Soldier is back in the mix versus Kilmarnock. And according to Steven Gerrard, he is chomping at the bit to get back amongst the team, which should scare Kilmarnock defenders and scare us, if I'm honest with you, because if he's chomping at the bit, you're either getting 3 goals and a hat-trick and a happy Buffalo, or a frustrated Buffalo who's going to kick someone in the fanny. All joking and that aside, Alfredo Morelos coming back to the team is absolutely vital for this match. Kilmarnock aren't a pushover, they're going to be difficult to break down, and I believe Alfredo Morelos will be key man and breaking down the Kelly's defence. Moving over to the injury side of things, there's been a couple of updates, especially one on Graham Dorrance, one that was kind of touched on last time. Yes, he did suffer an injury setback, which is obviously a kick in the gonads for every single Rangers fan because he has the quality, but that's another 3 or 4 weeks now on top of his already long injury history at the Rangers, where it looks like he's kind of took a massive step backwards, which obviously isn't his fault, but it's a bitter pill to swallow because he was back, he was training with the players, he was almost there. Now he's back, he's going to have to slowly work his way up, training by himself, and then eventually come back and training with the boys once again. This is like the third time it's happened this season, and honestly my heart genuinely goes out to Graham Dorrance. He can be such a fantastic player, and I've been waiting on him to come back and play in this Steven Gerrard's team because he is a number 10 who could really unlock the door, but every time he seems to be just coming close to the light, son slaps him back down, and it's just so infuriating. And let's actually continue with the midfield then, shall we? Scott Arfield is sort of being another late decision today that will be made after training on whether or not he will be returning to the starting 11. Gerrard went out his way to say he hopes he plays. And that's kind of echoed throughout the statement of the next one, which is even more sickening. Ryan Jack is a major doubt for this game. He's not even going to take part in full training today, which basically kind of rules him out of the game tomorrow. But Gerrard has kind of said he will listen to Ryan Jack. If Ryan Jack says he can make it through the actual game, he will put him in there because he fully trusts him and he's got that winning mentality. The only way that Jack wouldn't play is one, he comes out and says he won't be able to play, or if the medical team says if he does play, it's going to suffer a much more serious injury, and Gerrard won't be risking that. So look out for Ryan Jack. If he's there and playing tomorrow, that means the man is fighting through the pain barrier, a lot like what Connor Goldson did versus Celtic. So it's going to be very interesting to see what our midfield could actually be tomorrow if Scott Arfield and Ryan Jack is actually out. And the last couple they actually talk about is Grezda. Now, he wasn't actually mentioned on the injury list, but assuming the original timeline was right, he's still about 3 or 4 days actually away, so it's probably going to be the weekend before Grezda is back in the mix. And obviously a long-term injury, Jamie Murphy continues to progress very well, but still going to be in the last couple of games of the season. But that is it for the injury news. Now all that's left is to talk about some prediction on Eons. Now I want to know your thoughts and feelings about this one, because there's been a hell of a lot said, a lot of things questioned about these Rangers players. It's going to be the reaction of all reaction, and we're going to need them to be at their best to beat a very tough Kilmarnock side. So what is your prediction on the actual match? Me personally, I'm going to, if I'm honest with you, I've got 2 in my mind, but I'm going to go with my heart, and I'm actually going to go with Rangers 2, Kilmarnock 0. Alfredo Morelos with the goal, and I believe Captain Tav will answer the critics maybe over the last 2 games where his form sort of dipped, and I believe he will step up and rattle a goal in from the penalty spot. And it would be funny because it's against Clark. But isn't it just my prediction for the people that watch towards the end of the videos? No. We've got a little surprise for you. It's none other than the Baz Bowski. The man has returned. Baz, take it away.
Hello friends, it's your old pal Baz Bowski here. I hope everybody in the Novo Nation is doing well. Hope you're all looking forward to the game tomorrow. And here's my prediction. Baz Bowski's prediction from the middle of the North Sea. Yeah, wee spider thing on my jacket. Seagull, Spider-Man, whatever.
How is he on the channel for 50 seconds and I've already been seagulled and spidered? Come on!
Prediction for tomorrow night. It's going to be a tough game. Kilmarnock are a tough team to break down. What team's going to show up? That's the burning question. I think it's going to be a totally different team that, well, didn't show up against St Johnstone. I think we're going to do the damage. I think we're going to go on to meet Aberdeen in the next round. Score prediction 2-0 to the famous. It's going to be a tough game, but we're going to get the job done.
Just wiping that seagull off me. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you've heard from me, the Baz Bowski. Hopefully you've got your thoughts and opinions out there. It is now time to jump over to Twitter and hear from the people directly. Now, I have absolutely no idea how this poll's actually went. I'm sure it's going to be a bit spicy tamale. So let's actually find out then, shall we? 628 votes, and there's still 38 minutes remaining. That is absolutely vicious. Thank you so much for the support. 14% votes for a Kilmarnock win, but 86% of the people votes for the Rangers. So let's hear it then, shall we? Starting off with Peter Ramsey, says Rangers 2-0, Kent and Alfredo Morelos. John Beaton Loyal, be a hard game, but I think we will scrape a 2-1 win. Deacon Neil says, well win, 4-1, Morelos double, Kent and Arnfield. That is what I like to see. Moles, who's always in the comment section so early, thank you so much. It does not go unnoticed. Rangers 3-0 if we want to win it, or Kelly 1-0 if we come out the same way as the last 2 games. Robert writes in, my prediction, a lot of fear. Probably a win, but a lot of fear. Kinky Katic says, well win 2-1. Goal scorers Morelos and Arnfield. Arnfield with the goal. Now, I am not saying that incorrectly. I'm saying it how that's spelled. They just want me to be made fun of. That's what that is, okay? Martin writes in 2-0 Rangers, Morelos. Brace seems to be a popular scoreline. And the last 2 or 3 that we'll read out come from Andy Amato. He says 2-1, but I swear we better not play 2 holding midfield players at home again. Morelos and a Tavernier penalty. Very, very similar. And the last one we'll actually read out, just to make it fair, we'll go bing bang. There's your Auntie Jeanette. Rebel Fox says 2-0 to the famous. It'll be nice to play Kelly on a proper playing surface for a change. Both goals, penalties. Wallace and Wallace. So yeah, I've ended it with a Wallace and Wallace. But that's going to be the end of today's video. You've heard from me, you've heard from the Bazbowski, you've heard from the people on Twitter. If you haven't done so already, make sure you be doing so in the comment section below. And while you're down there, if you don't mind hitting a like button, it definitely helps the channel out. And if you'd like to support the 51 Strong on the Patreon's account, the link for that will be down in the description below. Shout out to those absolute legends. And that's it. I've been CJNovo92. Thank you so much for watching, and bye.